Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas,
one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The meeting will please come to order. We do have proof of posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall have 5 minutes. All right, if there's no one, we will go to item, well, actually, we've had a request that we take up number 19 and number 20 first, if that's agreeable with everyone. All right. Number 19 is to consider a replat for the Wilderness, Phase 5, replat of lots 101, 102, and 103.
I have that plat here, and we've had all the tax things have been done, and Mr. and Ms. Kimbrough is here, and so I would like to approve for us to do that, to replat phase, in the Phase 5 replat 1.
Your motion is to replat
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Wilderness, Phase 5, lots 102 and 103.
101, 102, and 103.
101, 102, and 103.
Yes, ma'am.
And a second, all in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 20 is to consider a replat for the Wilderness Phase 6 replat of lots 171 and 172. And the final plat of those lots will be 171R.
And I'll make that motion, make that into a motion. So that we do that.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Then let me do a sign.
Yeah, you want to do them, you want to sign them now?
Are you going to want to take them and do them now, or you want them to come to your office?
It'll have to be done after court,
All right.
and we need plats. Those are not considered plats.
Okay.
So we'll need the plat itself.
All right.
What are these?
Those are plats right there in your hand.
All right. So after court, if you will go to the clerk's office, you will prepare your...
Okay, are y'all gonna approve these with them not having an actual plat? Plats are these.
Let's look
This
at
is
that.
another one. And then these are just like
Can I
inserts.
look at those?
Yes, ma'am. This is the one right there that is the plat.
Have you already looked at this?
That one I have, these I have not.
Okay. So the Phase 5, we do actually have the plats of 5. But we don't have a plat, an actual plat of that one.
Right, this one is not a plat. These are just different surveys. We have to have the actual plat.
Actual plat.
Is that, for which one is that for?
This one, it doesn't say on here.
Why, that's for number 19.
Yeah, these are just different surveys. Okay, this says Wilderness Phase B, but they're not. This is not a plat.
Not a plat that
We
you
have
will
to have a
accept.
plat.
Okay.
So is this motion in contingent that we get the actual plat?
Yes.
Is your second contingent?
Both of one.
We can talk after court to tell you exactly what we have to have.
Got a lot of 6 here, we just don't have the 5. want them to come back and get those, when they bring the plat to you?
That'd be
they get
fine.
those? All right. She said that she would prepare those whenever you came back with the plat for that phase 5.
Okay. I may have to find out exactly what you're talking about, but,
Here's an example of a plat, if you'd like to look at this. You have different surveys on different sheets of paper here. We have to have a plat of it all platted together. That is an example of a plat for you, where it's all put into one. You have to have it surveyed, and I'm assuming they would have to do it, whoever has to do it for you. You use your, whatever survey you would like to use. Well, yes, sir. Like here's the lot, like here's this lot, 101, here's 102. So these little, here is on just different plats, so these apparently existing plats, but you want it surveyed into one, those three into one, so we have to have the survey of them all
And have it
together.
on a paper with that, with all the signatures. Yeah.
so I probably can't do that tonight,
Yes, sir.
but I'll see what you're
Yes, sir.
saying. You'll keep those other things.
If they come through court, yes.
Yes. We've approved it, subject to you bringing that plat to her, so you won't have to come back.
Okay?
Item number 1 is to approve the minutes of the March 3rd regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 3rd, 2021 meeting.
I say.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is budget transfers and amendments.
On the second page, Judge Grant, there's a budget amendment for some revenue that we received for that block grant. And the certification should be in there too.
Make a motion to approve, transfer them.
To approve the budget line item transfers and the amendment, and to accept the certification.
Yes.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve the payment of bills. report from number 4, approve the payroll. Sorry.
I make a motion to approve the payroll. Yeah.
Do we have a, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Now we'll go to the reports. I have the district clerk report for February. JP 2 for February, JP 3 for February. County clerk for February. Tax office for February. And also the senior services for February. Are there any other reports?
The auditor report.
Would you go get the auditor's report, please? Blue.
You know what, I think I put it on my list.
Oh,
And I think
okay.
I didn't bring mine up. I'll have to bring mine up, Judge. I didn't bring mine that goes with that up. I'll have to get it to you.
The auditor's report for February. So we don't have the treasurer's report, but it will be the report that is based on the February auditor's report, and it will be posted on the website. So when you bring that up, I think we can go ahead and approve that. Anything else, any other reports? Do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I make a motion.
All in favor, aye. Burn ban on number 6. We do not have a burn ban in place. If there's no action, we'll go to number 7, special road use agreements. If there are none, item number 8 is to approve bonds and education certificates of county officials and employees. Wow, we already have a cybersecurity awareness training for Mr. Michael Dunn. We'll all need to be getting these done.
I got 2 from VGO.
Thank you.
I got the,
I have 2 from VGO. Did y'all like Azure beads?
Oh, glad you.
Yeah, I did too. I don't know if I'm at A or B. I didn't get a grade.
Where you go with that, Paul?
Probably one passing shot.
Oh,
Okay, we also have a certificate from Jeannie Keeney for the Public Funds Investment Act and continuing education. Have two continuing educations. Are these different to you?
What it is they didn't send us any certificates in the last, during all the COVID stuff, so they're
Okay.
finally sending all that, all the stuff we
Oh,
get
we have a
virtually.
20, I see,
Yeah.
2019 public funds investment. Wow, in 2019, continuing education, and 2020, continuing education. Okay. Anything else?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Item number 9 is to consider an agreement for reimbursement for mental health counseling services between Hot Cog and Freestone County. And we do get a grant every year on this same mental health counseling service, and the amount for this year is $2,475. And the agreement is that it's reimbursement for mental health counseling services that have been performed.
Make a motion to accept. And I also see on here where our judge,
Oh,
Yeah, sure is.
that's fine.
congratulations.
Yeah, condolences, as it may be. We have a motion, do we have a second?
Yes, I did second.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 10 is to accept racial profiling report for Freestone County Hospital. I think we need to sign that and send that.
Okay.
Okay, and, I'll let you say what this is, full exemption racial profiling report.
Hey, this is last year's, it was Lynn Clary's report, so it fell under the exemption. No traffic stops were made. This year will be different, so,
Perfect. This is the report that you have, that has to be filed.
yes, ma'am.
Do we have a motion to accept that
I'll
report?
make that motion.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 11 is to consider a resolution for the opposition of Senate Bill 234 and House Bill 749, efforts to silence county officials. There is a bill in the Senate and one in the House that would not let, we pay fees to the Texas Association of Counties to be a part of Texas Association of Counties, and they have people that, on their staff, that review all the bills that are filed and then send out information to us, rather than each person having to look at those bills and try to get it down into normal language that we can understand. And so they are, in effect, trying to stop us being able to provide funds to the Texas Association of Counties if they do any lobbying. Lobbying for us is just, for example, like on the unfunded mandates. That's the main thing that they try to help us to oppose as we do. So this resolution is in opposition of them doing that.
I make a motion to adopt the resolution. Is that,
Yes.
that's right?
second.
All in favor, aye.
All right.
Motion carried. Tell you what. Item number 12, consider an order authorizing San Jacinto Day fireworks sales.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 13, accept donations from the Fairfield VFW Post for $200, the Community National Bank and Trust of Texas for $500, and Teague LTC Partners for $1,000 to senior services. Now, are all these donations to senior services?
Yes, ma'am.
They all are.
I've got copies of the checks.
I'll be sure I was reading it right. Do we have a motion
I'll make the
to
motion
accept?
that we accept those donations.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Well, that is a wonderful thing, and they certainly can use it. We need to be sure and take care of our seniors. Item number 14 is to discuss the bad weather day.
Judge, looking at this issue and us talking last time, I know there was a lot of hurdles that we need to get over on what's the catastrophic event, you know, how is it triggered, and then what benefit do we give the employees that work, right? I'm not prepared necessarily to offer you language on that because I have a concern, and that concern is really dealing with the sheriff's office. Talking to the sheriff's office and giving extra time, right? That's what we talked about, giving a bonus day off. Seemingly, and I'm looking at Chief right now to kind of help me out, doesn't work with their scheduling, giving that extra time. And that causes a problem with really what we discussed during that first time, because I think that was the solution that we talked about is, hey, if you work, you get this extra day that you can take off at some point in the future. Obviously on paper that sounds good. That sounds good to me, Brian Evans, but talking to the sheriff's office and their scheduling, I don't know whether that really works across the board. Go ahead.
Well, we know we have issues with oftentimes not even having full staffing. So scheduling, I know for holidays, we do 12, so it's only one per month for each person. And that, I know is even that with all the sick time and vacation time and everything else. Just adding this on is just another issue for our staffing. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, correct. I mean, we're still working on Appreciation Day that was given to us a while ago. I mean, we're 3 down in the jail, we're 2 down on the road. So for us to maintain a full staff and provide the service that we need to provide for the county, we need people working. People came in that day through a variety of means of transportation.
Right.
A lot of us took our personal trucks, brought people in, patrolled in them, did whatever we do. The simplest thing, I think, from our perspective was, look, if you're gonna reward somebody, then pay them that time and a half for that day. Giving us another day off or Appreciation Day really doesn't help us provide the service that we need to provide with the staffing that we have.
Well, and that being one way to look at it, we might consider that. People that didn't get to take off that day had to work, maybe giving them time and a half for that day. Might be an option. Or there may be some other options that we might could think about.
Y'all have money in y'all's budget to pay that, I'm assuming, in your salary line item?
I assume so, just for the mere fact that we've been down. But I mean, I can't give you a hard quote.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I'm just,
And
since
the
y'all been vacant.
Yeah, and the policy we make will have to be in place because we can't go back and now pay them retroactively for the days that they were off, but we sure do need to have, if we consider that or whatever we're gonna consider, so we will have that policy in place before something else happens.
Another thing to keep in mind, and this is an example that I can think of for my office. You have that week, right, and we had trial coming up. And so, you know, we have certain deadlines, we have to get witness lists out to defense attorneys, things like that. Well, you're also looking, if you set a policy like that, and again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you'd be looking at like my paralegal, if she's working from home and she's sending out a witness list and doing some things for trial prep, you'd be talking about paying her as well, right? And that would apply to any office. I just want to say that out loud, that you wouldn't necessarily, it wouldn't just be employees that are on the road dealing kind of with the catastrophe. It would apply across the board, anybody just doing their regular duties, if they're able to do that from home or able to get up to the office even and do it from the office.
As well as road and bridge.
As well as just across the board. I'm just making sure, because I think practically speaking, talking about deputies being out on the road and dealing with a catastrophe, fits in the category, but again, it would fall for any county employee that would be doing work when that catastrophe was happening, no matter what type of work it was.
But just mentioning the sheriff's department because of the hardship it would put on them if we gave extra days. So maybe thinking about if there's some other way to do what we're talking about and thinking about to try to provide a benefit for the ones that had to work when everybody else was off, but taking into consideration the issues.
Yes, ma'am, and I'm probably oversimplifying it, and I'm probably missing an avenue out there, but the way I'm breaking it down is you give extra time, right? That's what we discussed during the last meeting. Well, that's not seeming like it's going to work across the board. Okay, that's avenue one. Avenue two is you just get paid extra just for working during that catastrophe, no matter what work it is. That'd be avenue two. Obviously, that is more money being paid, but you wouldn't be dealing with the extra time that you're dealing with. And then, I'm going to say it, option number three is anybody that has to work during that week, that in their regular duties of work, it's just their work, right? And there is no extra benefit. That would be option number three. So again, that's probably oversimplified, but you kind of see where I'm going with those three options and the potential solutions that may be out there.
And there may be some other solutions if y'all have any.
Well, in order to benefit sheriff, I do the money deal.
We could do a mixture, but that would be hard to.
I was just gonna say, right now, we don't pay any, because it's unbudgeted, we don't pay any overtime out unless they leave, so would it just bank into their overtime account, or?
I think if we decided to do that, we just need to show it as hours worked. The other, like, you got an 8-hour snow day, but if you worked that day, had to work that day, then you would actually have some hours worked. And would you just pay them for that, or would you pay them?
Every office is gonna be different.
Yeah.
Every department
It
will be a
is.
different scenario. That's why it's so hard to figure it out,
Mhm,
because
it
not
is.
one thing's gonna work for
For everybody,
And then I
yeah.
think you go into the FSLA that says it has to be over 40 hours work to get the time and a half, so I'm not sure how that would work.
Right, that's true. I didn't think
That's
about
the
that.
law.
Well, does it say that, or does it say you have to pay overtime if it's 40 hours, over 40 hours?
I believe it says that any actual hours worked over 40 hours.
Have to be overtime.
Yes.
But does it say that if you work less than 40 hours, you couldn't pay overtime? That might be a different question that we could figure out.
Yeah. Maybe we just have to get clarification on that.
Yeah, and there's definitely clarification that we're gonna need. That's why I'm not prepared to give language or really finalize this deal. I think maybe kind of seeing some thoughts about what direction,
we're going in.
and then, me get with Jeannie and kind of figure out maybe the nuts and bolts of exactly how that would work and whether it even could work or not.
Why would you pay time and a half shortly, why not just pay every pay, you get a day's pay?
Above the snow day. So if it was a day we were
Doesn't have a
off,
day off, you
And
get
then-
extra day's pay.
days pay if they work. Not be overtime, but they'd get an extra day pay, extra day's pay. Might work. Okay. Lot of different scenarios you have to consider, yeah.
I think that would work, and it works a little bit better across the board, but what about on the road
That work
bridge?
for y'all?
Yeah.
Some guys can't make time and a half, they only get comp time. They don't get.
Regular time, it's not time and a half, but it's just regular
Yeah,
time.
regular time.
That's what we're talking about there, if you,
40 hours, they ain't gonna work another day for the same price, they gonna want time and a half.
This is not about overtime necessarily, this is about people working when nobody else had to.
Well, say, all right, for example, say if we were off 5 days for snow days, and you had a person that worked one of those days, they'd get paid for 6 days.
There you go.
Can I get the, yes. That,
Isn't that what we're saying?
that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we're saying. Or that's what I'm picturing in my mind,
Yeah.
yes, that you would get your days off, all those pay. But we're trying to come up with some scheme, if we're gonna go that route, to have extra pay on top of what you're going with.
So if the sheriff's department, since we've talked about them, if they had their 5 snow days, but they had to work all 5, they'd get paid for 5 extra days. Paid for their snow day and 5 extra days that they worked. I have never seen everybody be so quiet.
I'm just wondering if that would somehow put them in
You stay home
overtime.
Sundays, then you get to work, if you come out, but you're supposed to be working anyway. On snow days. And then you're gonna pay them another day or 5 more days, if they come out on firewood.
And see that, and that's avenues, that's to me Avenue C.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're in a position that works days that are kind of catastrophic, right? I mean, that's kind of goes along. I think what you're saying, and maybe put words in your mouth, but that goes along with the job duties of that position. And so they're out there working during those days. There is no extra benefit. That's Avenue, again, in my brain, that's Avenue C. But that would apply again to that would apply to my paralegal if she had to get a witness list out. The same concept would apply. That's her regular job duty. She just had to do it during a catastrophic event, and there would be no extra benefit. And I think, again, kind of, we're talking about the Avenue B is kind of the pay scheme to me, trying to come up with extra pay straight to the employee. I think if we want to pursue that route, again, I think all of us would need more time to figure out how that scheme could or
really think it through.
even would work. I just need to know right now if you're thinking about going that route, to then put extra time into how a scheme like that could work.
We're not gonna get nothing done on it today, so we might as well just say we're gonna talk about it some more, and we'll bring it up next time. Just learn, because I know we ain't gonna get nothing.
No, and you would hope that in a catastrophic event,
Doesn't happen between now and then.
you would hope that we'd have some time to figure this out before the next one. Now, we don't know that, but again, hopefully we would have some time to figure out how we want to go about this.
You know, just like now, if it's a holiday like on a Monday, you get holiday pay. And we rock along, we have a storm on Friday, you call your guys out, well, they got to fulfill their 40 hours and not holiday pay.
But I think you don't use that holiday pay then, do you, if they have to work during the holiday?
That's correct, it stays on their books and they can use it at another time.
day.
Do what now?
So like if, say you get a 8-hour holiday pay and you work 5 of those, y'all got called out and had to work 5 of those, but you took 3 of the holiday, we're only counting 3. You get the 5 holidays, stays on the books, and your guys can take it at a different
I
time.
understand that, but when we, take off Monday 8 hours holiday pay, we come in and work our other days, and then Friday and Saturday, well, y'all didn't work 40 hours, the holiday was there. So you don't get your full benefit of the hours and time and a half on the
Oh,
other
the time and
hours.
a half, that's correct, that's,
Yeah, that's not right either.
That's what was passed here, that you don't get that at time and a half, that it's,
Cause we don't know when a storm's gonna come, and it has done it several times when we have.
Most of the time. A lot of times on holidays, which doesn't work.
We'll think about that too. Okay. All right, we'll have that discussion another day. Number 15, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Election administrator.
Just Greg, can we take about a 10-minute talk break?
Oh, heaven, yes.
I know we need to roll one, Lord,
We
I can
always
see.
call it a Sunday when Stanley's here.
Sam,
yes, Gary,